Now, for more of a detailed look at the Games, let's turn to Daniel Kelly. He's an expert on global sport at the Preston Tisch Institute in New York. Thanks again for joining us there. Now, as the Olympics round out, what would you consider to be the highlights of the Games?
For me, the highlight has to be the safety. There have been over 70,000 screening tests since the start of the Games. The Beijing organizers are declaring victory as since the closing of the Olympic loop, there's been 1.7 million tests, over 14,000 airport tests, and they have a very low positive case rate. Overall, the safety of the Games was the utmost concern, and for me, that's the biggest win.
And overall, do you think that they were handled well? I mean, how does it compare, say, versus Tokyo and Beijing? They were both games that were held in the pandemic. How did the coronavirus impact the functioning, the logistics of the Games and their success?
I found it to be as successful as the NBA bubble. To give a great example, the NBA bubble in the United States was a $180 million investment in the logistics of a safe, COVID-free environment. And I found that the closed loop for the Beijing Olympics to be comparable equally to the NBA bubble. Now, in comparison to Tokyo 2020, I think the measures were more intense, and that needs to be declared a victory because of the low testing case rate of positive cases. And so I would undoubtedly see that the Beijing 2022 Olympics were a success when it comes to administering and enhancement of COVID-19 protocols.
The Games ended under a cloud in regards to the Valieva doping scandal, and it's something that's still unresolved. What do you think it's going to take to end these tactics?
I think we need more consistency between the protocols for the anti-doping agencies, from between WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, all the way over to the Russian Anti-Doping Agency. And so the consistency between the testing and a lot of the issues which range with it coming down to Russia not declaring the sample to be significant, and then of course the testing procedures with the Court of Arbitration in Sport. There were a lot of procedural issues that became a major deterrent for this current situation, and I believe shoring up those situations will be a great way moving forward.
And of course the Paralympics is in just a few weeks. What lessons do you think can be learned from the Games this time round that could be implemented in the Paralympics?
For the Paralympics, I think with it coming a week or two after the Winter Games, there's going to be a lot of understanding of the implications for COVID-19 and testing. I think with the success rate when it came to the COVID-19 management of mask wearing, of the vaccines, of the complicit testing, we're going to see the Paralympics go off with a pretty successful high rate.
All right, Daniel, really appreciate your time there. We'll leave it there for the time being. Daniel Kelly there from the Preston Tisch Institute in New York.